Good morning friends and welcome to Sharekhan pre-market roundup. Firstly on the global markets, the European markets were closed yesterday. They have been closed for 25th and 26th, that is the Christmas holidays, and the US markets are open and they were up by around 0.5 to 0.6%, mainly on the back of very good jobless claims number. Jobless claim has fallen by 41,000. It has fallen from 3,79,000 to 3,38,000. Also, one thing to be noticed in US is the bond yield, which is now close to 3%. Generally, we had seen whenever the bond yield is close to 3%, we see some volatility in emerging markets and some fund flow which happens because of high US bond yield. On domestic market front, we had expiry yesterday and we didn't saw much of volatility in expiry. Bank Nifty giving some 50 to 100 points move on the back of expiry in the last 30 minutes, but Nifty was more or less stable and it closed almost flattish, up by around 10 points. On the FI flows front, FIs were buyer by 700 crore in index futures and they were seller by around 743 crore, and they were buyer by around 743 crore in cash market also. Net seeing a buying of around 1400 to 1500 crores on the day of expiry by FIs. We expect the next series to start with a pause. Maybe we can see some sort of sideways market for first couple of days, seeing Nifty at around 6270, 6280 as support levels, and some resistance seeing at 6400 levels.
Good morning friends, let's have a view at derivatives. Friends, we have seen that with no major cues across the globe, and across the globe we have also seen that the global indices were shut due to the Christmas Eve, and because of which back home on the expiry day we have seen that the expiry has ended on a flattish to positive note. Now one thing which is very interesting is that the Nifty future has started the series with 1.99 crore shares, which is marginally higher compared to that of previous series start. And PCR ratio has also started with 0.84, which is after a very long period of time we have seen that PCR starting from 0.8, or else it would start with mark of 1 or say nearby that. Now talking about the rollovers activity, friends, compared to previous month, the rollover in Nifty as well as the overall market wide rollover is lower, but in Nifty the rollover is between 3 and 6 months average rollover, but in market wide rollover it's lower than its 3 and 6 month rollover. Now we have seen continuous increase in the rollover cost, and we have seen that the rollover is slightly lower compared to that of previous series, but whatever position has been rolled on the long side. Now talking about the options activity, friends, 6,500 call option stands with highest number of shares in open interest, followed by 6,400, whereas on the put side it's 6,200 put option and 6,300 put option, which stands with highest number of shares in the open interest. Talking about the supports and resistance of the market from positional and intraday perspective, from positional perspective we feel the support would be 6260 on closing basis, and intraday support would be at 6290 and 6380. The straddle break-even point for the month is 6075 on the lower side and 6525 on the higher side. So net what we feel, if I take a view from the if I take a broader view of the market for a month, then this would be the range probably in which market would trade, as we do not have, as of now we do not have any major trigger points in the market apart from the results of the companies which would start in from January month. But what we feel is that overall data set is suggesting a positive bias for the market, because the PCR is started with 0.84. We have also seen that rollover is not almost in line with the market expectation, but yes, it is somewhere near that. So what we feel is that also the implied volatility is at the lower mark. So what we feel is that the overall bias for the market is positive. 6,200 on closing basis can be taken as a good support, or say might act as a good support on closing basis for the market, and on higher side 6,500 can be targeted. Thank you.
Now let's have a look at some of the important news flow that came out yesterday, and some of the stocks which will have impact of those news. Firstly, government may ease conditions for import of gold after seeing a sharp fall in gold prices. Importers of alloy will be allowed to fulfill export obligations over the 3 MOS instead of on the basis of every lot imported. FT, that is Financial Technologies, the founder of the MCX, will be asked to cut its stake in the nation's biggest commodity bourse to up to 2% after the regulator said it was unfit to own a controlling stake, against which FT promoters Jignesh Shah has challenged the FMC order and will move to High Court. Sun TV has limited the advertisement inventory offers to the content partners, reacting to the sharp fall in ad revenues last quarter despite doubling its peak slot rates. 3 media houses has also confirmed the news of Sun TV on the condition of anonymity that Sun TV has already cut down the inventory it offers to its partners from 4 minutes to 3 minutes. Telecom companies such as Bharti, Vodafone and Idea Cellular stepped up pressure on the government to immediately replace the current system for levying spectrum usage charges with a flat structure, warning that otherwise they would stay away from January's bandwidth auction. Telecom Commission is to discuss spectrum usage charges on December 31st. The spectrum usage charges, which is levied annually by government as percentage of revenue earned by telecom companies, which varies from 3 to 8%. Government has decided to infuse 700 crore rupees, out of which 400 crore will be infused in Dena Bank and rest in Allahabad Bank. Dena Bank has already approved fundraising of up to rupees 800 crore by issuing shares by way of QIP. After a dull phase of nearly 3 months, steel prices are likely to go up as JSW has decided to increase the rates by up to 1000 rupees per tonnage, that is around 2%. On the stocks front, Sesa Sterlite can be traded long with a stop loss of 195 and for a target of 206 and 211 on the back of a news that government has approved more coal supply to 9 power projects, which includes those of GMR Sterlite, which have failed to develop mines allocated due to environmental hurdles. Indraprasth Gas has increased CNG price in Delhi and the satellite towns of Noida, Greater Noida and Ghaziabad by around 4.5 to 5 rupees. In Delhi, the prices have gone up from 45.6 to around 51, and in Ghaziabad from 51.55 to 56.7. Go along with a stop loss of 260 and for a target of 274 and 279. R Power, CBI is likely to close its preliminary inquiry into coal block allocation to a power project in Sasan in Madhya Pradesh run by Anil Ambani Group, that is ADAG. Action to be taken is long with a stop loss of 71 for a target of 76. We have released Alpha Delivery Idea Tata Communication yesterday at a price of 294 rupees for a target of 350 rupees. These are the financial details for Tata Communication. We are expecting a PAT of around 232 crores for FY15 and around 437 for FY16, nearly doubling the EPS from 7 rupees to 15 rupees. Tata Communication operates in 2 verticals, voice and data offerings. In global voice services, that is GVS segment, TCL is a wholesale voice carrier providing services to the telecom service providers globally. It is the largest provider of international voice services. In the global data services arena, TCL offers all connectivity related solutions to the service providers. On a rough cut basis, we expect TCL to deliver a 10 to 11% revenue growth aided by 6 to 7% voice growth and 15% data revenue growth. On the margin front, we expect the margin to improve from currently 12% to around 13.5%, aided by a consistent voice margin and improving data margin. Also, entry into banking space is a huge opportunity. Under this, TCL provides infrastructure solution to the banking industry, which includes ETP, that is electronic transaction processing. It includes services related to establishing and operating ATMs and core banking solution, that is CBS. In May 2013, TCPSL became the first company to receive the RBI approval to set up and operate white label ATM in India. Currently, it has 16,300 ATMs across India. Neotel, which is a subsidiary of VSNL, that is Tata Communication, has turned PBT positive will turn PBT positive by end of 2014. Neotel is a majority subsidiary owned by by Tata Communication, that is they hold around 67.3% in Neotel, focused on the South African fixed line and enterprise market, and it contributes 10 to 11% of TCL's revenue. Tata Communication has entered into an exclusive discussion with Vodacom to sell its stake in Neotel at its Q2 FY14 results meet. The company had mentioned that since the deal talks are ongoing, it would be difficult to provide with any timeline in case of successful closure. Also, TCL, which is earlier known as Videsh Sanchar Nigam Limited, VSNL, has huge parcels of land measuring close to 773 acres across Delhi, Chennai and other states. In this regard, a company called Hemisphere Properties India Limited was formed, which would hold the demerged surplus land with the government holding a 51.12% stake and balance with the TCL in the same. Owing to its enhanced focus on data, improved thrust on cost rationalization and measured capex, we believe that TCL's financials are set to improve. Any development on non-core asset monetization would act as a catalyst for balance deleveraging. We can see the chart for Tata Communication. As per the chart, Tata Communication has very good support at around 260 levels, and then around 163 and 215 levels. So one can look to initiate first tranche of buying at around 294 levels, and the second tranche can be initiated lower, which will be informed. Resistance will be seen close to 350 levels and 370 levels, which can be taken as first target and second target. That's all from our side. Thanks and bye. Have a nice trading session.